The silence finally broke on April 8th, but for many, the words felt too little, too late. When Cha Eun-woo posted that lengthy letter on his Instagram, written entirely in Korean, the translation spread like wildfire across international forums, and the reality of the situation began to sink in. He didn't just post a generic "I'm sorry," he posted a detailed admission of failure, addressing the recent tax controversy that has been haunting his career. In his own words, he said, "I sincerely apologize for the disappointment and confusion to many people, including fans." He acknowledged the delay in his response, admitting he had to be careful during administrative processes. But the most damning part of his statement was when he addressed the elephant in the room regarding his family and his agency. He wrote, "I will not avoid saying I didn't know or it was someone's decision for any reason." He took the bullet, but the question on everyone's mind was, why now? And more importantly, how deep does this hole go? The numbers floating around in the initial reports were absolutely staggering. We aren't talking about a simple miscalculation or a few $1,000s in missing receipts. Rumors and reports began swirling that the figure attached to this tax controversy was upwards of 20 billion won. Let that sink in for a second. If a celebrity can pay a fine of 20 billion won, roughly 15 million USD, just to make a tax evasion case go away, imagine the actual earnings he was hiding or misreporting. That kind of money isn't just a salary, it's a generational fortune. It puts into perspective the massive wealth these top-tier actors accumulate versus the reality of the average citizen. It's a bitter pill to swallow for the public. While everyday people are struggling to pay rent and buy groceries, here is a star sitting on enough wealth to pay a fine that could build schools or hospitals. The user translated his apology where he stated, "I have levied all related taxes to prevent further confusion," which essentially confirms he paid up to silence the noise. But the court of public opinion doesn't just care about the payment, they care about the intent. This scandal didn't just appear out of thin air, and internet sleuths are connecting dots that make this look like a calculated game of timing and strategy. The timing of his military enlistment has now come under intense scrutiny. Many are speculating that his decision to enlist wasn't just about duty to the country, but a strategic retreat. The theory gaining traction is that the investigation had already begun before he enlisted, and things were getting out of control. His legal team seemingly couldn't handle the mounting pressure or negotiate a quick settlement. By enlisting, he effectively pressed the pause button. In South Korea, criminal court proceedings are often delayed or suspended while a person is serving in the military. This bought his legal team precious time, months, maybe even a year, to negotiate a deal with the tax authorities, settle the fines, and prepare a PR strategy while he is safely away from the cameras. It's a classic move in the industry. When the heat gets too high, put on the uniform and wait for the storm to pass. His apology now is just the cleanup crew arriving after the deal was struck. But the most explosive part of this narrative isn't just the money. It's the karma theory that has taken over online communities. You might remember the recent fire surrounding fellow top actor Kim Soo-hyun. When Kim Soo-hyun was facing his own intense media scrutiny and rumors, it was alleged that Cha Eun-woo's agency Fantagio was one of the entities actively pushing proofs or negative information to the press to eliminate competition. It was a ruthless attempt to knock a rival off the top spot and clear the path for Cha Eun-woo to take the best acting roles. Netizens haven't forgotten that. Now, seeing Cha Eun-woo caught in a massive tax evasion scandal while trying to portray himself as the responsible good boy feels like poetic justice to many. They are calling it karma. You tried to expose someone else's dirt to get ahead, and now your own closet is spilling skeletons. The hypocrisy is palpable. Fans of the rival actor are flooding comment sections with "serves you right," turning this into a battleground of egos that goes far beyond just taxes. The moral outrage here stems from a much deeper societal issue. Cha Eun-woo is known as the face genius, a visual icon. People loved him because he seemed perfect, but this scandal strips away the glamour. If he or his family, as he hinted in his apology regarding the establishment of his company, intentionally or negligently evaded taxes, it's not just a legal issue. It's a betrayal of the society that raised him up. In Korea, tax evasion is seen as robbing the community. The money he withheld, money that could have funded schools, infrastructure, or welfare, was apparently being hoarded. He wrote in his apology, "I founded my company to continue my activities more stable, but looking at the 20 billion won figure, it looks less like stability and more like greed." It infuriates the public to see the rich getting richer by breaking the rules. When a regular person misses a tax payment, the penalties destroy them. When a millionaire celebrity does it, they pay a fine and post an apology, and their life goes on. That disparity is why fans are feeling more than just disappointment. They are feeling resentment. His apology also tried to shift the narrative away from his family, which was a crucial damage control tactic. He said, "I think that the responsibility is on me, not my family or the company." This was clearly in response to rumors that his family members were listed as executives in his private corporation, a common method used to siphon funds or avoid higher tax brackets. By taking the blame, he's trying to stop the investigation from digging deeper into his family's finances. He's saying, "Punish me, leave them alone." But the public isn't buying the Noble Sacrifice Act. If his family was involved in the mismanagement, protecting them now doesn't absolve the crime. It just makes him look like he's still trying to manage the narrative. As we dissect his words, "I will try harder and try harder to become Cha Eun-woo who is responsible for my choices," we have to ask, is this the end of his pristine image? He mentioned Aroha, his fan club specifically, expressing heartbreak for disappointing them. And truly, that is the saddest part. Fans invest their time, money, and emotion into these idols, defending them against every little criticism, only to find out that their idol was playing a different game entirely. They were defending a person who, behind the scenes, was fighting the government over billions of won in taxes. The trust is fractured. He's currently serving in the military, safe from the immediate backlash, but when he returns, the landscape will have changed. He won't just be the handsome actor from the dramas. He will be the guy who paid 20 billion won to make a tax scandal disappear. He will be the guy whose agency tried to bury a competitor only to get buried by his own mess. The face people were loving is now being called a tax looter by angry netizens. It's a harsh reality check that no matter how beautiful the face, the money and the greed behind it are just as ugly as anyone else's.